Yes, you read that title correctly. I currently pay over $4,000 per year in annual fees alone across the 18 credit cards I currently have open at the age of 23. Now, I recently told this statement to a few friends and family, and I really wish I could have captured just how wide most people's eyes got when I said this. And I think that's because most of my friends and family know I'm a credit card enthusiast, know I'm in the credit card game, and know I like earning points and miles, but I don't think most of them knew to the extent at which I am currently involved in the credit card points and miles game. Most of their initial responses were one of two questions. The first one being, why is this the case? Why do you pay over $4,000 every single year to have credit cards open? And the second was, how is this even possible? In what universe and what strategy setup is it possible for someone to pay over $4,000 per year in credit card annual fees? After explaining my strategy and methodology, I think most of them were a little bit more understanding of my madness and the strategies I employ to get maximum value out of credit cards, or at least I hope they were a little bit more understanding. And after having almost this exact conversation over and over with friends and family, I realized I'm in a little bit of an interesting situation where I have 18 credit cards open, I pay for $4,000 a year in annual fees, and I'm rather young and new to the credit card points and miles game. And so I thought I would just talk through and explain my strategy at a very general high overview level, because I think for most people, whether you're new to the credit card points and miles game or an experienced veteran, that I think some of the strategies I employ and methodologies I use to earn points and miles could maybe apply to, or at least help you just think in a different frame of reference. Now, I wanted to address this at the very start. Do I have credit card debt? Never. I'm very fortunate to never have found myself in credit card debt, and that is because I always pay off my balances in full every month without exception. I've never once carried a balance to the point where interest is accruing on my credit cards. I'm also someone that really doesn't even feel comfortable carrying balances at all, even if that means it's a 0% APR card for 12 months, one of those introductory welcome offer 0% APRs. Even I've never carried a balance on those cards. And so for me, opening up rewards credit cards is all about the points and miles. As soon as you start to accrue interest and you're getting charged monthly by these card issuers to keep the card open and keep balances on your cards, then right then and there, you're basically negating most of the positive benefits of these cards. And so for me, it is imperative that with my strategy, I pay off my cards in full each and every single month. And it's something I also highly encourage you all to do as well if you want to fully maximize the points and miles and rewards your cards can be earning. Now, later on in the video, I will showcase each and every single credit card that I have open, how I value the cards, the credits, the benefits, and how much value I've been able to get for my entire strategy in total. But before we get to where I am today, I kind of wanted to tell you how I got here, because I'm only 23 years old and I've only been in the credit card points and miles space for about 18 months. Yes, that means that basically on average for the last 18 months, I have opened one credit card per month. It's actually kind of crazy to say that out loud. And I also don't think that's entirely true, because I did have one or two credit cards open before I started my points and miles journey, but well over 15 of the cards have been open in the last year and a half alone. Now, upon hearing that, you might be thinking, why in the world have you opened so many credit cards at such a young age in such a short period of time? These are all fantastic questions, and they can all be answered by one word: churning. This single strategy is something I found myself researching and becoming aware of around a year ago. I originally got into the credit card points and miles game, like I said, about 18 months ago when I opened the Chase Sapphire Preferred. This was my first entry into the credit card points and miles game. I believe I'd stumbled upon a YouTube video or someone redeeming Chase Ultimate Reward points for a flight, business class, economy, something to the point where I was interested enough to go down the rabbit hole of point and mile earning cards, reward earning cards, credit cards, annual fees, all this stuff that I wasn't really accustomed to, because at the time I just had a Capital One, a Venture One card, and I was putting 90% of my spend on my debit card. But after I opened my Chase Sapphire Preferred, it really opened my eyes to the world of transfer partners, sign up bonuses, point multipliers, basically just the very intro level stuff when it comes to credit card points and miles. But after opening my Chase Sapphire Preferred and transferring my points out to a Hyatt, I had this rewards earning credit card, but I had just spent all of my points. And after doing the math, even if I put every single penny of my spend on my Chase Sapphire Preferred, by the end of the year, I would probably only be left with another 30 or 40,000 points. That meant the 60,000 point welcome offer I achieved for opening up the card and putting the minimum spend requirement on the card, that was equivalent to around 2 years worth of just organic spending on that credit card. And I thought to myself, there has to be a better way and a quicker way to earn credit card points and miles. And that is how I found out the world about credit card churning. Now, to quickly summarize credit card churning, and again, I'm just going to be giving a very general and brief overview. It is basically opening up as many credit cards in a strategic fashion to earn as many credit card points and miles as possible through the use of putting your organic spend on your new cards in order to achieve the welcome offer. Again, that is a very oversimplified explanation of credit card churning, but basically all of my spend, my day-to-day spend, my organic spend, my business spend, 90% of that is being put on credit cards that are currently working on achieving a welcome offer, meaning if I need to spend $6,000 in 3 months, $8,000 in 3 months, $2,000 in 3 months, whatever the minimum spend requirement is within a given time frame, most of my spend is being put on these cards in order to achieve the welcome offer. Once I've achieved the welcome offer, well, most of my cards go in this booklet, not really to be touched again unless I have a very specific use case for them. And so to give a more analytical viewpoint on this methodology, I'll go ahead and show you a recent example of a credit card that I opened and how I approach valuing this specific card. Now, this is the Chase Inc. Preferred. It recently had an elevated welcome offer of 120,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points after spending $8,000 in the first 3 months. Now, unfortunately, this particular Chase Inc. Preferred welcome offer is no longer available. It has gone back to, I believe, 100,000 Ultimate Reward points after 8,000 in spend. But for me, I was able to take advantage of this elevated welcome offer and get approved for the Chase Inc. Preferred recently. Now, the way I actually value this sign-up bonus isn't at a 1 cent per point valuation. For me, I transfer out every single Chase point I'm able to get my hands on, typically over to Hyatt for hotel stays. And for me, I've been able to redeem my Hyatt points at, on average, around 2 cents per point. And so earning 120,000 Ultimate Reward points for this sign-up bonus equates to around $2,400 in travel or hotel stays when transferred out to Hyatt. So for me, I spent $8,000 in order to get $2,400 in value. And so in order to calculate the return on spend, or basically what percent of my money did I get back for spending the $8,000 on this card, you take $2,400 divided by $8,000 and you're left with a 30% return on spend. Now, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I'm not aware of a single credit card out there that has a 30% return on spend or 30% cash back or 15 points multiplier. And again, that's because for the first $8,000 that I spent on the credit card, it was just going towards achieving the welcome offer of that 120,000 Ultimate Rewards points, which I value at $2,400 in travel. And so I hope this is sort of able to paint the picture of the credit card strategy that I employ, where to simply open up a personal or business credit card, put the spend on it in order to achieve the welcome offer, which again allows me to have a return on spend that isn't able to be matched by any planned credit card setup out there. And so once I realized this for myself, that, oh my gosh, I can achieve years worth of points and miles earning potential with just a single credit card welcome offer, things kind of started to snowball. I was opening up a credit card once every 2 months, once every 6 weeks, once every 4 weeks. And I think recently, just a few months ago, there was a month in which I opened 3 credit cards in a single month. So I really quickly want to interject because I'm editing the video right now and I kind of forgot to mention that I don't plan on having this many credit cards open forever and this much of a yearly annual fee structure and pay this much every single year in annual fees. In the last 3 months of 2024 alone, I'm going to be canceling a handful of cards, and same thing into 2025. Most of these cards are open with the intention of having them open for 12 to 13 months and then canceling them if it doesn't make sense to have them as a keeper card. I'm not sure how I forgot to mention this. So no, I'm not going to go from 18 to 20 to 25 to 30 cards. I am actively trying to keep my card count as low as possible, which isn't really working out at the moment. But anyways, on with the rest of the video. And if you're wondering what is my credit score, well, it's very healthy. Most of these credit cards that I open are business cards, and that's because I do have a business. I do have legitimate business spend. And so fortunately, I'm able to take advantage of these business credit card welcome offers. But since the majority of the cards that I open are business cards, they don't report to your personal credit score, and therefore my credit score hasn't been just absolutely obliterated in the last year and a half. And so that's how I ended up with 18 open and active credit cards in just around a year and a half of being in the points and miles game. And I know what you're all wondering, what credit cards do you currently have open and active? Well, fortunately, that's a rather easy question to answer because these are all of the credit cards I currently have open and active. And at the very bottom, you'll see that my total annual fee amounts to $4,089. Now, I want to give a little bit of explanation of what you all are looking at. On the left hand is a list of all the 18 credit cards broken up by the issuers of the credit cards. The ones highlighted in yellow are going to be business credit cards, while the ones that are just unhighlighted are personal credit cards. And then on the far right of the screen, that is the net value I get each and every single year by just holding the card. This does not take into account the value I've got from the points of this card because I think it sort of skews the results a little bit. And so for these cards, if I never earned a single point again in my life, meaning I never spent a dime on these cards, I would still be able to come out positive around $500 just due to the credits, the various benefits that I value, like lounge access and status with various different hotel hotels and airlines, I would still be coming out ahead. And I think that's a really important piece of the puzzle to understand, is that even if my spend dried up and I started spending significantly less on these cards than I currently do today, then I would still be able to come out ahead and be positive due to my travel habits and my lifestyle and how I prefer to travel. And so for me, this credit card strategy setup works. And again, it's just based on how I value the credits and how they fit into my strategy. And so rather than going through each and every single card and ranking them and telling you about their credits and their details and their benefits, I'm just going to highlight a few in particular that I think have been the most revolutionary and impactful to my credit card points and miles strategy. But before I highlight some cards, I did want to run some numbers by you to prove that yes, even though I do spend an exorbitant amount of money, and even if I value the credits that these cards have at face value, I'm still coming out much more ahead on travel redemptions than I'm spending on my annual fees. Because as you can see, in the last 18 months alone, I redeemed a little over $37,000 worth in award travel. Now, this is split up between hotels and airlines, some business class, most economy. Most are going to be 3 or 4 star hotels that are more in line with how I prefer to travel. And the main thing that being in the credit card points and miles game has allowed me to do is just travel more frequently while also traveling more comfortably. Usually this comes in the form of airport lounges or staying in slightly nicer properties or being able to fly out at times of the day that aren't 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. I've also been able to travel to destinations this year alone that I genuinely didn't think I would be experiencing for years to come. And so while this hobby might come with some added stress of applying for credit cards and maintaining balances and making sure everything's paid off and keeping all of your ducks in a row, I think for me, the positives have heavily outweighed any sort of negatives or potential stress factors that might come with having this many credit cards open and being responsible for paying over $4,000 every single year in credit card annual fees. And you might have seen at the bottom some point totals. Now, I didn't do a super deep dive, but I was able to roughly calculate that in the last 18 months, I've been able to earn over 1 million credit card points, these being either Capital One miles, Chase Ultimate Rewards points, Amex membership rewards points, because those are the only 3 credit card points and miles ecosystems I'm currently in. And I was also able to accumulate over 1 million hotel and airline points, these being Alaska Airline miles, American Airlines miles, Delta miles, Hilton points, IHG points. This doesn't include any points I might have purchased, which is only a few hundred thousand. And instead, these point totals only reference those that were earned through signing up for credit cards or spending money on the credit cards. And so for me, the way that I think about it is I'm basically prepaying $4,000 every single year in annual fees to get around $15,000 to $20,000 worth of travel. And so thinking about it that way, I'm basically getting my travel at an 80% discount, which again, you're really not going to find any sort of deals or coupons or savings like this online. And so while the strategy is rather complex, it is really aggressive, and it's definitely not a fit for everyone. For me, it's something that I've really come to learn and have fun and enjoy sort of the process of maximizing travel rewards and the credit card points and miles game. Like I mentioned earlier, I did want to go and highlight some credit cards in particular that I think have been the most pivotal in terms of elevating my travel lifestyle and really pushing my credit card points and miles game to the max. The first one is going to be the Chase Inc. Unlimited. Now, at the time of filming, there is an elevated welcome offer of 90,000 ultimate reward points after spending $6,000 in the first 3 months. This is typically only 75,000 UR points after spending the same 6K in 3 months. And for me, why this was so pivotal opening my first Chase Inc. Unlimited card was firstly the fact that I just earned more points than my Chase Sapphire Preferred earned. Again, this amounting to around 3 years worth of organic spend in opening one credit card. So this is really a credit card that opened my eyes to the world of churning credit cards and really business cards, and also helped me learn the pro tip that you can actually open multiple Chase Inc. credit cards within a 1-year period and earn sign-up bonuses on all of them. And what I mean by this is, for me, the first card I opened was a Chase Inc. Unlimited, achieving, I believe at the time, a 75,000 point welcome offer. And then shortly thereafter, a few months later, I opened a Chase Inc. Preferred, achieving the 100,000 point welcome offer on that card. And then a few months after that, I opened the Chase Inc. Cash, again achieving, I believe at the time, a 75,000 point welcome offer. And so within those 3 business cards right there, I've achieved well over 250,000 ultimate reward points across 3 cards that have an annual fee of a combined $99 per year. And so again, this single statistic of earning 250,000 points and paying just $99 a year between these 3 cards is really just what opened my eyes to the credit card points and miles game. Next up on the list, we have the American Express Hilton Honors Aspire card. Now, this is a rather hefty annual fee card coming in at $550 per year, and it is one that definitely helps attribute to that $4,000 total. But at the time of me opening the card, I was able to achieve 150,000 Hilton Honor points after spending $6,000 in 6 months. Now, this welcome offer alone isn't anything spectacular, but one of the main benefits of opening up the Hilton Honors Aspire card is the fact that you get your free night certificate from this card within around 8 to 12 weeks of opening it. And so usually usually for most cards that come with certificates or any yearly benefit, you have to wait one full calendar year before actually receiving that benefit. But the Hilton Aspire is one of the few credit cards that will actually give you the benefit up front. And the free night certificate for me, I was able to redeem for I think around a $600 night hotel room in New York City. And a pro tip for anyone out there who either has this card or is considering getting this card, you can use the $400 resort credit per year this card gives you to prepay for certain charges at Hilton resorts. Now, this isn't a strategy I've been able to use just myself, but if you go ahead and look up how to use $400 resort credit at Hilton properties online, there are some great in-depth guides on how you're able to properly and effectively prepay for certain charges at Hilton resorts using your Hilton Aspire credits. Now, ending off the list, I think the card in particular that I've got the most value from has to be the American Express Platinum Business Card. Now, it's funny because I have two business platinum cards, but I don't have either the personal gold or the personal platinum cards. I'm still waiting for my Chase 524 status to soften a bit so I could open up some of those cards. And the reason you saw that I had two of these cards open is because I opened the first one earlier this year just to get into the Amex ecosystem, get access to the Centurion Lounges, the Delta Sky Clubs, and all the other benefits that having a platinum comes with. But for the second Amex Platinum card that I opened, it was purely for the welcome offer. American Express cards do come with lifetime language clauses in some of the card offers, but infrequently, maybe a few times a year, offers will pop up online that the general public can apply for. And through these offers, you will still be able to achieve the welcome offer for getting a card, even if you've previously had it. It's my most recent card I signed up for was 200,000 MR points after spending, yes, $20,000 in 3 months. So I know that right there, that minimum spend requirement makes this card unappealing for about 99% of those watching today's video. And so again, I fall in a very unique circumstance where my personal and business spend is high enough to where I'm able to achieve the minimum spend requirement on most of these credit cards. And for me, my pro tip for any users out there who are thinking about getting this card or currently have it, the $400 a year you could spend at Dell is actually pretty usable for general home and office goods. If you just browse the Dell website, you're probably gonna find way more products, tech products, electronics, home goods, lights. Dell, weirdly enough, sells a lot of products that you can easily use this credit towards. And so I could talk about ad nauseum my credit card strategy for hours and hours if someone is willing to listen. And I know this video is already running really long, but I feel like for something this intricate, this complicated, and definitely a topic this scary, paying $4,000 per year in annual fees definitely warranted a slightly longer video. But I'm really curious to hear from you guys. What credit card strategy do you employ? Do you have one card? Do you run a duo? Do you run a trio? Are you like me? Do you have 10, 15, 20 credit cards open? What strategy do you employ? That's one of my absolute favorite things about the credit card points and miles game is the fact that there's not one particular strategy that is going to be the best for everyone. Everyone's travel habits, their personal lifestyles, their spending habits all differ from one another, and so do people's personal preferences. And that's really why I like this hobby so much, is that there's so many different nuances and ways that people can take a credit card that I would never apply for or consider opening it and make it a very promising prospect to provide value for them in their particular use case. And so again, let me know down below in the comment section what you think of my strategy, my madness, if it's even that mad, or if you're running a similar setup yourself. And if you enjoyed today's video, then I've got a good feeling you're also going to enjoy this one. So feel free, give it a watch, and I'll see you there.